can someone say that it doesn't exist? That's extreme denial to the point of insanity.
3 years ago, I set out across America to investigate a story about a mysterious substance called Ormus. A story so strange that I had to meet the people behind it.
These are a group of previously unknown minerals.
Everyone was experiencing a metaphysical type of effect with it.
You can take a substance that will cause reality to change.
My blood oxygen level shows the blood oxygen level of a teenage athlete.
But getting a grasp of the facts was proving more difficult than I ever imagined.
It's a very slippery subject.
Okay, tell him you need to stop. You need to stop.
Let's talk out of the car.
It seems to me he feels he has the secret to something.
A secret as old as the Bible.
Can you make gold?
Can I make gold?
Would you consider yourself an alchemist?
Because you're making gold, aren't you?
Yes. People will die because of this. People have been killed because of this.
This is the story of my search, to find out if Ormus really does exist, and if it's possible to literally make gold.
What is going on here?
Anybody that tries it, in my opinion, is an idiot.
I'm here to meet David Wolfe, who's a superfoods nutritionist kind of guy. Don't know too much about him, but as far as I know, he's been experimenting with Ormus.
The discovery of Ormus is indicating the following: that there are atoms that exist in the geosphere, in the Earth itself and on the Earth, and there are atoms that exist in the atmosphere that do not fit into the periodic table of the elements. Now that is a shocking discovery, and it's one of the greatest discoveries in modern science. When we put a tree like this in, we saturate it with all different kinds of Ormus extracts, and from there we're getting some interesting results. We're getting some of this really powerful growth, which this durian is just starting to display. This durian is going to be one of the big ones here. It's getting better and better and better. As strange as that sounds, we're taking concentrate of strange matter, the Ormus minerals, to feed the plants better. And the plant is always trying to get access to as much of those Ormus elements as possible. When it finally gets access to them, then it will bring these noble elements right to the genetics, which is in its pollen. We're not only farming plants here, what we're really doing is we're even elevating it one step further by letting the bees work with us to take all those Ormus elements. The bees have collected that and turned it into a dynamite honey. I'm not into theories, I'm into results. This is our neighbor's honey. That's our honey. There's your results.
Claims like these have been coming out of America for a few years, but hardly anyone I know has even heard of Ormus. Across, on the other side of the country, it wasn't just bees and trees that were supposedly being affected by Ormus.
I give it to my horse, Scout here, he really likes it. I give it to my parrot at home, she really likes it.
How do you know they like it?
Because they go for it. This horse, I'll give him a syringe filled with it in his mouth, and he won't let a drop fall out of his mouth. I don't have to hold him, he's just like right there with his lip. Here we go.
Get some water.
Let's install this where you don't lose some, okay? Now look at this is, and I know I'm doing something good for my horse, taking care of his health physically. I believe that I'm increasing the acuity of his mind.
This is a thermal imaging camera, right?
Exactly. We're taking a thermal image through an infrared camera to create the heat signatures. This will tell me any kind of hot spots in the body. These are very subtle things. So when
Can you just point out what's going on here?
What I'm seeing, the left side is the before, and on the right, because the color is more vibrant, it means that there's more energetics going on. There's some sort of conductivity that is increased.
Happening there at a cellular level.
But I don't. Can you explain to me then how that is when you're seeing temperature? Is that right? So how do you know? How have you?
I think we're just telling you that we're seeing changes in this body after we've given the Ormus material. That's telling us that there's more vitality. You can use the word vitality instead of energy. There's more vitality in this leg on the two legs on the right than there is on the left. All the pictures are showing you is that, gee whiz, this horse was given this Ormus, and we are showing that there's more vitality on those two legs.
Not exactly what I would call hard science. But the more I looked, the more Ormus stories I uncovered. 8 years ago in the desert, outside Las Vegas, Pat Bailey discovered completely by accident a strange white powder.
We had geologists go out there, and they determined that this site was a meteorite impact that happened 11,600 years ago. Now, it was interesting that the soil was all white. I took it to a lab and had an ICAP analysis done on it, which basically can tell you every little aspect, every little element, every element that's in the sample, and it looked just like common clay. So that didn't tell me anything.
Pat believed he had found an Ormus deposit and began producing an Ormus-based health supplement.
Sean Adams, the director of the Alpha Learning Research Center, wanted to do some preliminary laboratory testing on it. 3 or 4 days after I sent out the product, I get a call from him and he goes, "Man, do you know what you got here?" And I said, "Well, I think so. I've been selling it, for 4 or 5 years, whatever the case was." And he goes, "You don't have the slightest idea what you got here." And I said, "Okay, Sean, why don't you tell me what I got here?" And he basically said that, "I charge people $5,000 for a week seminar to teach them how to get in the alpha state of brainwave activity. And all I have to do is give someone one capsule of your stuff and they're automatically there, just like that."
Everyone was experiencing a metaphysical type of effect with it. The electromagnetic lab determined that the exact same vortexes that take place when energy transforms itself into matter is inherent in every grain of this stuff. So basically I was told that this deposit had the creative force of the entire universe. And I knew I had something then.
But the question is, what exactly did he have?
What is Ormus? Let's say structurally or chemically. You have something to say?
Stop for a moment.
It doesn't really behave like any normal matter.
It does appear as matter existing with weight, but there's no atomic number or name for it.
We can definitively say that Ormus is the material in an altered state.
It's like a riddle. That's as best I can describe it.
We can't definitively say what that altered state is.
And that's basically all we can say at the moment with Ormus.
The story of Ormus starts in 1976 with a cotton farmer from Arizona called David Hudson. He had begun analysing the mineral content of his land, specifically searching for precious metals, when he began to find a strange white powder that no one seemed to be able to identify. His anomalous substance had some very strange properties. In the sunlight, it would explode in a flash of light, but in the dark, it would float away from his hands. And at different temperatures, it would change weight and would sometimes disappear altogether. Hudson spent millions trying to find out what he had. Yet according to all the analysis, his white powder was pure nothing. Now I was really curious. could almost be real. I began to reason if it's so difficult to detect almost directly, perhaps measuring its effects would be the easiest way to prove it does actually exist. And so, I decided to try and do just that.
Relax. I work with mapping the electrical activity of the brain with surface scalp electrodes. So this is a electrocap. You can release now. Okay.
I'd asked Dr. Akurdi to test what effects taking Ormus has on my brain.
Recording.
First, we do a test without taking any Ormus.
So we can observe the alpha rhythms, they wax and wane.
Akurdi is especially interested to see if Ormus will have any effects on my alpha brainwave rhythms.
The alpha rhythm is associated with a calm but alert mind. It's a relaxed awareness state. It's now about 3:50 p.m.
The next day we tried again, this time after taking some of Pat Bailey's Ormus product.
Okay, so Joe is now taking Ethereum gold caps.
Okay.
Okay.
Though it's subtle, I feel perceptibly more alert than yesterday.
Good. So this has improved considerably. You calm down a little bit.
I felt it.
And look at this. The alpha is over the top.
That's interesting.
This suggests that the Ethereum gold change is alpha power, which is interesting to me because alpha power is one of the dimensions that changes in energy healers when they're focused doing their work.
Well, that's a pretty exciting result, and one that I wasn't really sure I was expecting. And if Ormus has this effect on me after just one go, I wanted to find out what effects it has on someone who's been taking it for years.
Do you take Ormus personally?
Every day. I had a lot of back pain. I used to crawl out of bed on my hands and knees in the morning. I used to have a lot of pain at the base of both thumbs, arthritis, and again, that's gone. My blood oxygen level, whenever it's tested, shows the blood oxygen level of a teenage athlete, which, you know, for my age, 66, that's pretty good.
I forgot to ask you about your product.
Ah.
What is it you make?
Make a mineral extract of seawater for agricultural use.
Arthur believes that his seawater-based product boosts crop yields because of its extremely high Ormus content.
I can show you here the kind of results that we get. These are seeds for scarlet runner beans. This is the way it comes from the seed company. This is what was harvested. You can see the difference. There's no way to explain the bioactivity that we're seeing. It has to be something other than the effect of conventional mineral application.
They're twice the size.
Yeah. Ormus allows the plant to more fully express its full genetic potential. And not only the plant, but the microflora in the soil as well. We've had soil analysis done 2 or 3 weeks after applying our material to the soil. And the total bacterial biomass will be increased by 50%. Total fungal biomass will be increased by over 100%.
And what is it about the Ormus that is doing that?
Well, I don't really know.
While he shows me around his lab, Arthur reveals to me something that until now I thought was just a rumor.
I've been able to extract very significant amounts of gold from seawater and put it in metallic form, and put it in a scale and weigh it.
So you're pulling gold out of Ormus?
Correct.
Hold that. Would you consider yourself an alchemist?
I've been called that. I don't consider myself to be an alchemist. I consider myself to be an extractive metallurgist.
It turns out that Hudson, who discovered Ormus, was doing something very similar. He quickly realized that Ormus was extremely rich in precious platinum group metals, an unbelievable 2,400 ounces per ton. Essentially, he believed that Ormus is largely composed of precious metals in an exotic state of matter, where the metal atoms don't form any bonds with each other, but exist as separate single atoms, making them what he called orbitally rearranged monoatomic elements. But because it can't be measured, and therefore can't be proven, the scientific community ignored his findings. And then, in 1992, Hudson goes a step further and announces that his white powder is in fact the legendary Philosopher's Stone, the mythical prize of the alchemists, an elixir of life that will cure all illnesses, bring about spiritual enlightenment, and turn base metals into gold. He set out to produce it for human consumption on a really large scale, but a disastrous acid leak caused Hudson's facility to shut down just days before it became operational. And then, Hudson simply disappeared.
I'm interested in the fact that it's apparently completely new to science, or that it is actually alchemy. So I need to try and figure out how to make gold. I don't think that's such a big thing to ask, is it?
Well, it turns out it is. Frustratingly, Arthur won't show me how he makes gold, or even how he makes Ormus.
Why do you think there's so much secrecy around Ormus?
Well, if anyone is actually putting Ormus minerals into metallic form on a commercial scale, I can understand why they would be extremely secretive about it. The only thing I'm secretive about are my own original methods that I've discovered and developed. I protect my methods.
Well, at least now I have a possible way to prove without a doubt the existence of Ormus. All I have to do is find a way to turn it into gold.